today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to create this. So I'm actually going to be splitting this tutorial into two videos. This one we're going to be going over the force field effect, and then next week I'm going to cover the helicopter part. So let's get straight into it. First thing I'm going to do is add in my shockwave elements, and you can get free shockwave assets from Production Crate, and I'll leave a link in the description for that. Then I'm going to add a color vibrance effect and change the color to your liking. Then I'm going to add a deep glow effect. Then on the layer, click the 3D box and adjust the orientations that best fits the shot. I also temporarily set the blending mode to normal to easily see where the shockwave is, and then set it back to screen. Then you just want to copy and paste the effects onto the other shockwave layers. And then repeat the steps. Now I'm going to select all my shockwave layers and pre-compose by hitting Ctrl-Shift-C and rename it to shockwaves. Then set the blending mode to screen. Next we are going to create an adjustment layer and rename it to chromatic displacement. Then add the chromatic displacement effect and change the layer to shockwaves. Then increase the displace amount and the soften displacement. Bro, what is up with you, bro? Then I added another deep glow to the shockwave layer and increased the exposure. Now we're going to duplicate the footage layer and rename it to roto. And then put it under the shockwave layer. Now you're going to want to pre-compose that layer and make sure to check move all attributes. Now you can begin rotoing. Next, we're going to create a solid, rename it to element, and change the color to gray. Now add the element effect, and I'll leave a link to this plugin in the description. Now click Scene Setup. If you go to the right, you might see some folders and they might be empty. If they are, you can download some models from Video COPILOT, which there will be another link for in the description. But after you've done that, you're going to want to select the bullet model and hit OK. Now go to the World Transform and adjust the Z position. Now I'm going to set the blending mode back to normal on the shockwave layer and adjust the position and rotation of the bullet so that it fits in the middle of the shockwave. This will give the effect of the bullets creating an impact on the force field. Then set a position keyframe and turn on motion blur. And go back a few frames and put the bullet out of frame. Then duplicate the layer and repeat the same steps for each shockwave impact. Now select the bullet layers and pre-compose it and rename it to bullets. Now duplicate the shockwave layer and rename it to shockwaves 2. Then we're going to add Production Create's Lightboard plugin, which I'll also leave in the description, and select bullets as your foreground and shockwaves 2 as your background and hit create. Now as you can see, there's a nice glow around the edges of the bullets, making it look a lot more realistic. Then I added an exposure effect to the bullets and slightly increased it. Now I'm going to add dirt elements to some of the bullets that made impact with the ground. Then I added a lumetri color to match the dirt element with the shot. Now I'm going to create a null layer, duplicate it, and rename them to left track and right track. Then I'm going to use the anchor and create a position keyframe. And I'm going to manually track the anchor to the middle of my hand and do the same thing to the other hand. Next, I'm going to add an energy ball asset and add an exposure to it and increase it. Then I added a hue saturation effect to change the color. Then parent it to the left track layer. And the asset wasn't long enough, so I went to the project tab, right click the asset, they go into interpret footage, then main. Now you can change how much it loops. Then duplicate the energy ball and parent it to the right track. And now you should have something like this. That's gonna wrap up the first part of this tutorial. If you want to see how I created and animated the helicopter, that's gonna be part 2 to this tutorial, which will be uploaded next Monday. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe and hit those post notifications so you don't miss it, and I'll see you guys next week.